And we're back with more Shacknews awards. Every year, we try to act like we're Time Magazine for a little bit, and we announce a Person of the Year. Uh, this is basically, our coverage universe is pretty wide now. We cover technology, we cover gaming, we cover emerging tech, cutting edge tech like what's going on in the cryptocurrency space or the blockchain technology. We cover finance. So there's news that happens in the finance world that's also in gaming. The video game industry is massive now. It's the revenues have topped the motion picture industry and the music industry. Video games are largely the most, they're a huge medium now, which means that we cover things that are tangential to gaming. Tabletop games or films and stuff like that. So this can be anyone. This can be any individual who we really thought stuck out this year. Um, I'll let other people nominate first. I have a few ideas for this one, but curious who other people would like to nominate.
I'd like to go ahead and start my nomination.
Mm-hmm.
If Time Magazine can make Man of the Year out of Vladimir Putin and Adolf Hitler and whoever else, I'm going to nominate Bobby Kotick for our Person of the Year.
Wow.
Okay.
What a person to really set things in motion and really kick off. I couldn't think of a bigger
It's like when you tried to nominate COVID for an award last year. It's basically
this is
the same thing.
COVID personified.
Yeah, this is like, hey, how can I vote? How can
this guy, I don't care that this is being recorded. What an absolute ass master. You deserve to stump your toe every day for the rest of your life, sir. And that's all I have to say.
Just like,
and he's ruined Moneyball forever. Like, I don't want to watch.
Yeah, I can't watch Moneyball. I love Moneyball, and I can't watch it.
I
can't stomach the first 10 minutes.
Like, if someone could release a new version of Moneyball that cuts out every Bobby Kotick scene, I would buy it. Because I love that movie. I love that story of the Oakland A's. I hate this nomination.
They should deepfake Sloth from the Goonies in the place of Bobby Kotick in that scene.
That would be awesome. If Sloth was the owner of the Oakland Athletics.
But Sloth, we need more money to go against the Yankees this year. Baby Ruth.
I love David Justice.
All right, yeah, this is getting out of hand. But yeah, I agree with everything.
I get the sentiment of the nomination, but I think
he's certainly in the center of a firestorm. That is a solid point in that sense. But we tend to like giving awards to people we don't hate, or aren't largely viewed as villains in our industry.
We could also go the Time Magazine route and give it to a bunch of people, and basically everyone standing up for workers' rights, everyone trying to unionize, whether it be at Activision or at Ubisoft or at Apple or everywhere else. Give it to those people, because there's a movement going on right now. It's going to go on for a long time, and they're basically fighting against practices that were widely accepted in this industry for many, many years. And that they're like, it doesn't have to be this way. It should not be this way. And good on them for taking up that fight and risking their livelihoods in the process.
This is why Ozzy is our senior editor. He's so good.
No, but I'm just saying, like, we've already given an award to the workers' rights movement here. It's bigger than one person. So just semantically, I think it's challenging to give this award to a movement. But you could go. You remember that year Time Magazine gave it to you?
That's what I was thinking of.
We could be like, the worker is the Person of the Year, and I think that's a valid nomination.
And it's much better than just giving it to you.
Yeah. No, I get that. That's. I will say,
giving it to you. It's just, I felt like such a cop out. Like,
I will say that,
like, who's special? I'm special.
We're all special. I agree that nominating the worker is better than nominating Bobby Kotick for this award. Anyone else have a nomination? TJ does.
I'm gonna go with Frances Haugen, the Facebook whistleblower. Pain and suffering is not a contest. a lot of people have risked a lot of things in this worker movement and in revealing the corruption in various parts of tech and entertainment industry. But Frances Haugen stepped it up and did the research to back up her work against a company that arguably controls not only more money but the flow of information than any other entity in the world. And to step out of the shadows and give herself a face in that movement is possibly the riskiest thing anyone has ever done this year in that regard.
Mm-hmm.
I respect the worker movement so much, and I respect how hard people have fought for what's going on. And I think that Frances Haugen is a face of that in a way that is just incredible how much she's risking for how and the work she did to put all that information together and make sure that not only is it an allegation, but it's an allegation backed by factual documentation and statistics, which Facebook cannot say, well, that's just your opinion.
Yeah, they can't use the that's hearsay argument with anything she did, because those were internal documents, there were internal emails, there were internal studies that the company did not deny. You know, a lot of the time with these accusations from workers, it's just deny, 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 right? If it happened behind closed doors or if it was an in-person thing, it becomes he said, she said in a lot of the cases. In the case of Facebook, they had their own internal study that said Instagram usage in teenage girls increases the chance of suicidal thoughts, and they did nothing about it. They have internal studies that show, and internal conversations that show, they implemented fake news filters in the fall of 2020 to limit the spread of false information for the election, and immediately turned them off after the election. There's internal documents with Mark Zuckerberg emailing people about that decision because it was hurting their usage. Yeah, out of any of these activists that we've seen, and props to anyone who's standing up to $1 billion corporation right now, we realize just how hard it is to do that. And in the case of Frances Haugen, I don't think she's going to get a job in the tech industry ever again. You know, she's a former Googler and she was former Facebooker, but I doubt that these companies that are still acting maliciously are going to be falling over themselves to work with this woman. And that's that sacrifice you're talking about. And it was for the greater good. And I think she definitely deserves praise. This perfect nomination for this category. Yep. And fuck Facebook. Anyone else got a nomination? No? Okay. I'm gonna just throw. Okay, you do. Okay. It's just like no one said anything. Go, Danny.
Yeah, I was gonna. I guess it's gotta go with best dev too, but I was gonna nominate Sakurai because he did what he accomplished. He accomplished what he wanted to do, and the amount of time and effort he's put into getting Smash to where it is, and just having that entire culmination happen this year. I hope he takes some time to rest, but man, I think it's just a big accomplishment. He's able to pull off bringing in Sora and all these other characters into a franchise like this, and I don't think it's ever going to happen again. To be honest, I think this is a big moment for both the game and also just what he.
Yeah, you may not like Smash, you may not like Kingdom Hearts or Sora. It's undeniable that when Sakurai was speaking this year, the games industry stopped to listen. And I love his reverence for every IP that has worked with him, every company that's worked with him. Like, his presentations are incredibly detailed and he cares. The amount of work that went in last year to the Minecraft Steve DLC, right? Like, they had to redesign every level in the game so that Minecraft Steve could work in it. Yeah, just an insane level, an insane attention to detail, and yeah, a culmination of 20 years of working on this franchise. That's a good nomination. I definitely like Masahiro Sakurai as a nominee for this. Anyone else? Nope. Okay, I got two. And I'll gloss over them pretty quickly because I'm not gonna vote for either of them. I just think this movement that is not the workers' movement I've tried to mention in several categories and it keeps losing. So I expect this to also lose. I think Ryan Cohen, the chairman of the board at GameStop, definitely deserves a nomination for the turnaround that he's affected here at the company and how he's running things. And it's undeniable. You may not like the Roaring Kitty, Keith Gill, deep fucking value. That guy was a story this year. That guy was a very big story this year. You have a guy who took $90,000 and turned it into $55 million by betting on GameStop. You could argue that this whole gold rush that we're seeing in the stock market right now is people chasing that American dream. And Keith Gill, I know there's people out there who hate him because he was in the financial industry. He didn't properly disclose his conflicts of interest. His employer got fined $4 million. He lost his job. He's no longer in the financial services industry at all. So there are reasons to dislike this individual. He's not necessarily the folk hero that people like to paint him as. I more paint him as a very successful individual investor, and it speaks to that aspect of the American dream where you could buy Apple for 60 cents and sell it for 120 a share. I don't know anyone who's done that. But yeah, like with GameStop, I think those two individuals need to be mentioned in this category. I think Ryan, in the sense that it's a completely different company than when he acquired his shares. He came in. If you read the letter that he wrote to the board of directors when he bought the shares, he's done everything he said he was going to do. It was an activist move, and this is a guy who didn't need to do it. He was already a billionaire from Chewy. He didn't have to do this. He could have just go live in Hawaii on the beach all day. But he's a young guy. He had a model. No one thought that Chewy was going to be able to take out Amazon when it came to the delivery of pet food and pet products, right? No one thinks that GameStop is going to somehow turn it around, or no one thought that when it was $8 a share last year when Ryan got it. So I do think that he is a visionary. He is a very innovative, charismatic entrepreneur that is kind of now at the center of this movement, considering that Keith has not had an online presence at all for like 3 months, hasn't posted an update about his GameStop position since April 16th. So the movement's kind of devoid of a figurehead, or at least it was for a while, and a lot of these folks have now moved to Ryan as their leader. And he is quite literally the leader of GameStop with the chairman of the board seat. He completely revamped that board. I know people have mentioned that Reggie Fils-Aimé left. Yeah, that was George Sherman's guy. Ryan is gone, and he's brought on former Amazon people and former Chewy people to build a new GameStop that is focused on moving away from brick and mortar towards the digital media world. And they took advantage of this short squeeze or whatever happened in January. They didn't squander that. The old GameStop would have fucked this up. The old GameStop would have fucked this up. Because that's what they did for 10 years. They just fucked shit up. This GameStop saw the shares in the 200s, 300s per share, said we could raise some money, pay off all our debt, and not be a going concern. You know, this was a company a year ago that was on the verge of bankruptcy, and that's why it was so shorted. But yeah, I just think all those things lead to why I'm nominating Ryan Cohen for this. I don't think he'll win, but I just thought he was worth nominating. So yeah, those are my two nominations. I was going to nominate Francis, but TJ jumped on that.
Choose mine too.
Anyone else? Or are we good here?
I think
Wow,
we're good.
Barack Obama misses this out. He misses out again. What are you doing? Are you asleep, Obama? Like, this award's just waiting for you to come in and scoop it up. And where is he? He's on the beach?
Probably.
For him. Anyway.
That's where I'd be if I were him.
Right?
Yeah.
Doesn't he have like a house in Hawaii and stuff?
Oh.
Anyway, let's get to voting. Chris, you gonna put in your vote for Bobby Kotick?
I think I'll switch mine to the formerly voiceless worker.
Okay. I'm gonna wait. 'Cause I nominated a few. I'm just kind of curious where things go from here. Blake, who you got? Does anyone want me to remind them the nominees right now?
I know who I'm voting
Okay.
for.
Okay.
Frances Haugen, man. I mean, like, I think if we're talking literal individual of the year, I really got to give her credit for everything she's done, and like, you know, she's really putting her neck out there. Because let's face it, a corporation like Facebook or Meta or whatever the fuck they want to call themselves, like, they have a lot of money and they can do a lot of messed up stuff to her as an individual, and for her to you know, put that risk upon herself as an individual is very brave.
Yeah, and I just appreciate how she did it from the inside.
Yeah,
she lulled them into this sense of security, like that she could be trusted with this information.
Yeah,
and then when provided that information, her morals kicked in, and she said, "No, this is not how you're supposed to operate." And I know Google gets a lot of shit. As a former Googler, right? For her to come over to Facebook, that's the move. Facebook loves hiring ex-Googlers, right? Like they were always happy about that. I think there is a drastic difference in the company cultures at those companies. And I'm not saying Google is a saint. I'm just saying that Facebook might be evil incarnate. Bill.
I usually try to vote quickly, but I just want a quick second to address my vote. I want to respect the nomination of obviously the workers and Sakurai. I think he endured a lot to bring people joy, and that deserves attention and respect. I think it's amazing what Ryan Cohen has done, especially turning that company around. I think that deserves recognition. And also, I think the actions and of Keith Gill also have had a profound impact on things this year. So that there's just, I don't want to just throw a vote away without saying how much I respect everyone else. But I'm going to vote for Frances Haugen, and the reason is same thing as many people have stated, but also want to draw attention to the fact that Frances Haugen did this as a woman who is going to get a whole different level of abuse for her actions than we could ever imagine as men. It's just amplified of how much she would have to endure, not just like not getting another job, not just like the online pushback, but you know, I just think it would be much worse as a female standing up than it would be a male, and that's also a factor.
Well said.
Yeah, Ozzy.
I'm going to say the worker.
TJ, pencil and union for Bobby Kotick. I'm kidding.
Frances Haugen.
Right. And that was your nomination. I was just like, what's the last thing on earth TJ would vote for? I don't know if you guys can tell, Lola is very hungry. So let's get this one.
I wondered.
Yeah, Lola's like, what the hell are you doing, man? Greg.
Francis, that whistleblowing shit is real, and I hope that we don't forget about it 2 weeks from now, like we usually do.
I want to shout out the SEC, which I rarely do. I hate them. The implementation of Sarbanes-Oxley after the Enron fraud case created a whistleblower shield. There's a whistleblower protection that people have in publicly traded companies, and I don't think Francis would have done this without that. So props to the U.S. government for actually doing something right for once and protecting whistleblowers. And it's going to help with this Activision, the ongoing Activision cases, what's going on with Ubisoft. Corporate governance is going to end up getting these guys. And it's credit to the SEC for at least having a regulation that protects these people. Donovan, what you got?
Francis Haugen.
Yeah. Danny.
Yeah, I think there's enough votes for Francis. So I'll stick with my nomination just to have it on the board.
Yeah, I mean Sakurai. Yeah, like as a gaming personality or a gaming individual this year, he had a masterful year, no question about it. David, who you got here?
Francis Haugen.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with. Let me see if Sam penciled in anyone. Sam did not. But yeah, my vote does not matter. But yeah, I'm gonna vote for Francis as well. I think she did something very brave and honorable, and I think Silicon Valley could use more people like her. I think people in this, I think there's a lot of people in a lot of industries right now that put their morals to the side, and they take the money because they need money. So I don't blame people for taking a job, but when you take a job at Facebook, you know exactly what you're doing. There's not a question that you are. It's entirely possible that once she was there, she found out it was worse than it could have ever possibly have been. But when you take that money, you know what you're doing. And this is true of what's going on at Apple, right? Like Apple is not immune to what's going on in this workers movement. But yeah, these companies, I can't remember who said it, I think Greg did. They just have so much money that it feels almost insurmountable to fight them. But this year has definitely been about fighting for what's right in all these cases. In the case of the workers movement, in the case of the whistleblower at Facebook. So yeah, congratulations, Francis Haugen. You're the Shacknews Person of the Year 2021.